exhibit being right on top of their heads. But man, if you take a look at this mini-map, there's so many drones flying around. You would think that all these EMPs are going to be different forms of fireworks, while Falcons are rounding behind Dory. So that fight that we just saw currently as Dory are going to be able to heal up safely. They're going to be able to try to pull off getting those ultimates online too. With Falcons, they see that the fight's over. They don't want to try to overextend. They see that next zone pool are going to take that roundabout rotate, perhaps behind JD Gaming, or if the timing serves, behind Zedai and Dory to clear that northern side. But it's a lot of a riskier chance unless they go through JD Gaming.
Yeah, and with 18 seconds before everything starts to collapse and draw them in, you might get stuck having to carve through that choke point into the middle, straight towards where we saw Deep Cross Gaming fall. PXX has now entered the mix alongside Zeddy, and Dory has been there, right? So knowing that there's potential for that third party, I can imagine that Katsu King there is going to look for some early openings, but honestly at this point, if you're Zeta across the way, taking another fight towards the western side, we saw what Yuka F could do. They hit the reset on the altar, and now the fire, the flames, the seer coming out, and Yuka half falls. Satuki to join Mike, the last stand, and he can't pull it off.
Oh man, there's literally fights happening on each angle while Unlimit 2 get involved in the crossfire. Flat looking ahead to try to capitalize because Team Heretics. But remember that pile-up that we were talking about with Dory up on the north side? Guess what? Falcons took the jump tower, they landed right on top of them, and Zedai and Team Falcons are now facing up against each other, but it's only up to Gild to clutch out here, as he's going to be able to get that followed up knock here, going to be able to try to get the reset as well, finishing off some of these knock teammates because of the Alter TP that is allowing them to get recalled.
Oh, Alter, my beloved. When you get to make plays like that and have that get out of jail free card, there goes the crypto EMP, and for fun, we're just in a bit of a situation, right? We've got a solid spot if we can hold this and clear out our backs for the long game, for maximizing a potential win out of it, but not if JD Gaming has anything to say about it. And they were one of our first teams that had teammates falling. Naughty was down and out, but they've made a full reset.
They did, and now Floating's going to be able to clean up on aisle 3 as a limit, by the way. Do get eliminated in your feeds. That's going to be at the hands of Team Heretics, who have now completely cleared the west side of the zone, but it's quite a big journey for them as we take a look at JDG. Now looking ahead with Naughty being back in the fray, as you mentioned, Tiff, is going to get the information off the crypto drone. They do see that one member of Wolves Esports are going to be able to TP, and they want to prevent them from getting that reset. I mean, imagine how an EMP could go with the amount of caustics in this lobby, and then you have that lone Watson too from Gaming Gladiators.
I actually love that they lock in Watson early on and just kind of stick to what they know, stick to what they enjoy for E-District, because you'll be able to play that character longer. You don't have to switch off too much, but here are the Falcons yet again on the move from the outside looking in, which is such a great strategy for group stages, right? It's all about racking up as many points as humanly possible early on, but they only have 3 kills to kick things off, which I say only, but honestly the most in the lobby is 4, and that's PXX and Flat.
Yeah, exactly, right? And Flat, if you look at their position being on that southern side of the zone, it's going to allow them to pressure and pepper out a lot of that damage onto the neighboring teams that are playing more so by the edge. AG Global are situated in that next zone, but then if you take a look at where that zone's playing next, as you see the side-by-side from Unlimit, Peace clutching out with the R9, he's got the purple bag, and that's all he needs with the final shot. Oh my goodness, off the longbow to come out on top. Falcons now hailing from above and being on top of the rooftop, putting in the pressure, forcing this team to play by the fence on a beautiful kidnap, by the way, that we were talking about earlier when it comes to the altar.
Yeah, that was a dirty replay right there, Vicky. I'm not gonna lie. Those are things that I will never get enough of, but the EMP comes in straight on Gild's head, and now a Skynade to hopefully put that resistance up. Trade's coming alongside, but it's Team Heretics, and just a nade chaos backfires as Team Falcons fall.
Playing on potato, catch one of these as Falcons find themselves in the spot room gates here. Back to the lobby they go, and this is the pile-up that we were mentioning. Team Heretics maybe in some trouble here. Well, also it's going to be Havoc also right behind them with PXX, Zedai Esports. It's a huge pile-up here. And guess what team is uncontested in this next zone? Gaming Gladiators. I mean, crazy, as we were talking about them running that Watson earlier too.
Look, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about Gaming Gladiators in this era, but something happens when those boys step onto the stage, right? And hey, if we're gonna have some success this early on, that momentum will carry you through the week. Zainu, 5 HP, drop in the barrels, and hey, we're just gonna hide in here. No one look over. It's all good. It's all good.
Mind your business, Zainu says.
If you see me, no you don't. Look away.
Lone little caustic. It's like hiding behind that one little tree, a slim tree, hoping nobody sees you. But you know what? You're keeping the dream alive here for our teams left in this lobby. That next zone is going to be a bloodbath for the teams that have yet to pile up inside of those 3 individual buildings. That's right directly in the middle when you go over to the east side of Humbert Labs. Just taking a look at the teams that are just trying to reset here. Yan specifically. He's putting that down to get information, by the way, just in case, because they're trying to kidnap him on the other side of the Moby.
Hey, that's kind of rude, I'm not going to lie, but it's totally fine. We got AG Global, Yanya, Jaguares, Niazul here on the screen, and an L-Star in hands. Looking pretty good. Now, we do have a solidified spot in Circle, but they are not alone. This is the populated side of things, and with the majority of the 5 squads still outside the Circle, you're getting that information from the high ground from Team Heretics to be able to see what is going on over here. Where can I play from? They've always been from the outside looking in, and do we jump on Havoc?
The fact that Heretics just reset too, by the way, and they jumped down from the high ground and avoided getting kidnapped.
And they do. They immediately full send onto Havoc, who just took out Trinity. So Havoc now with 3 kills towards their name are going to have to contend with the Heretics, and they do it as if it was no issue towards them at all. But now with the ring at your back and TIE just ahead of you, how are you going to contend? Because AG Global, they want to get involved too.
They do, and after being able to try to get a reset themselves, was a lot of pressure. The fact, by the way, that TIE coming out of making it into this land when in Pro League they were in 20, they're staying alive. They've controlled this building. The neighboring teams now with 6 squads remaining. These are the 3 buildings that we had mentioned earlier, and some of the teams that are not within the vicinity of these 3 buildings, JD Gaming, PXX, who are looking at Gaming Gladiators. It's going to be difficult for Gaming Gladiators to make this rotate in the next few seconds, and AGG understanding and having the awareness. They do have the TP, but with this final zone closing the next 30 seconds, it's going to be nearly impossible.
Yeah, with 6 teams left, I love that you've outlined all the stakes, especially JD Gaming. And here's why. Their job is to make sure that wherever we are going, we are keeping tabs on the north with Gaming Gladiators, PXX, making sure that those 2 fight each other and they don't get full sent. And on the other side, right, the south, Wolves, AG Global, and TIE, they want those fights to happen there so that JD Gaming can just shoot from afar and clean that up, netting themselves a win.
That's why they've been holding this position for a really long time, right?
Yeah.
And we saw that they were able to pepper in a lot of the teams from afar without trying to directly involve themselves. But if you're looking at PXX and what they've done in this first game, that's how you set up momentum. 7 KP going in their pocket while JD Gaming been farming damage. GG now move up to already initiate this fight versus JD Gaming.
They do, right? They immediately start getting closer, but look who's there. Shubi to try and make a play falls at the hands of Lufka. That is going to actually make so much difficulty there for JD Gaming, who do have the altar, who are going to look for a reset. So Gaming Gladiators must keep applying the pressure. And here they go. Zane, but they put poof, bamboozled. Here they come back though. Naughty floating, making the last stand.
I mean, the way that we're seeing these players just go back and forth between the portal, EMP for days, all the information with the skies congested. You have the crypto and the Seer to deal with. A TIE do get eliminated. Floating is farming. He gets called out though. Stay Naughty's the last one alive, and JD Gaming get eliminated. Our last 3 squads as it's AGG, Wolves, and PXX who are looking to take this KP into that first place spot.
Sometimes you've just got to play it for that end game. You've got to relax, and Crazy Kong went no name. They do exactly that with a heck of a lot of kills, and they take game 1 of groups A and B.
Wolves with the pop-off, the crowd giving them their energy. I mean, what was that, like 10 KP by the end of it all? They were able to play very safely, have the high ground advantage before watching the teams below their feet collapse on one another to take that dub.
You look, if you lock in Humbert Labs as your POI, and that circle immediately starts outlining that.
Moving around and letting the rest of the boys know where to go next. We get to see where that zone pool is looking like too, because round number 4 is closing right behind their backs. And by the way, we still have 18 squads still left in this game, but it's about to be a bloodbath of Falcons take to the skies, and they get to fly over the insane battleground underneath their feet.
The Venn diagram of Seer exhibits, they say, you know what, we're playing the long game, we're going deeper into it, we're chowing and landing nearby Dory and Trinity. Dory on the low side, they immediately feel that pressure as they go under fire, but it's Dory that starts to deal the brunt of it as Muscle, their coach, stepping in for show, is one of the ones to fall, and Dory are out out. Can you hold now against Trinity, who portal down to the low ground?
Not today, though. Nice pressure as Hao is looking to reset. They take one out, and now they're looking at Trinity, who wanted to try to contest, and they had the information from the Seer scan originally, but with the zone closing in, they are safe with a sliver into that next zone, and that's what happens, as it's really only an isolated 1v1 fight between Trinity and Falcons.
They didn't have anyone fall too much damage there. They reset nicely. They get the gen down, but the chaos is still going. Floating makes an appearance and immediately lets the R9 shred to the pieces. You do have some poke damage from behind, so you immediately start playing the doorway. Havoc ahead of you for fun as well. They've already used their exhibits in the earlier fight, so let's say fence them in. Hijack enabled.
Yeah, and then you see like the painting of Watson fences on the ground. Shubi just trying to hijack that himself. JDG looking to sit down here and try to look ahead, because we did see that the reset was trying to come in, and they hear it. They heard the res coming in right through the death box, and they try to show face while they're at it, because while they try to take this fight, they don't want to give up this building, because Flat are looking overhead at For Fun and JD, but they're also splitting their attention to Zedai, who are currently on the bridge.
And I love that they have floating on that movement, Axel. 1 of 3 in our lobby. It really frees them open to make some of these players. You had Nitro Gate across, and you just keep that pressure on.
What the?
For Falcons, things are looking a little different than when we left them, right? They immediately shut down that push from Trinity, who decide, hey, we'll go back up to high ground. We'll try to challenge yet again.
Yeah, they definitely found Dory in that too. The fact that they were able to get away with that is insane.
But now the memory.
Literally, like, and they were able to still hold down while AGG trying to contest Trinity, trying to greet them, allowing Falcons to now move up. That one member of Trinity said, "Hasta la vista, I'm out of here. I do not want any business of this action." While AGG are looking, they got Yenny up originally, but not for very long. Falcons holding a better position as Falcons are cleaning up heads for this game number 2.
Falcons are making light work of their rotations. They're finding the resistance. They're shutting it down. JD Gaming For Fun also going to fall on the western side of things. And now as teams really set their sights onto landing into this hectic endgame, where do you play from? We saw Flat, who had the bridge. They called it, right? And they get that high ground. They can shoot down. Wolves, your map 1 winners, are finding themselves in a precarious situation.
I mean, the fact that Flat is just looking down on everybody, right?
Oh my
and the fact that you're just frying for free, and you got that gold extended light mag, he's just going to be able to just keep farming with this rampage. No extended heavy mag necessary here. While Wolves, by the way, do get eliminated. Your game 1 winners out of this lobby in 5th. But the altar is just so crazy for these resets. Flat is looking in 2 different directions. Shopify is clinging on for dear life, seeing if they can perhaps get a reset, as they did lose out on their altar originally playing underneath the bridge.
I don't think we were able to pick up Koifel just yet. It's the Falcons opening fire or preventing the reset. It's only a matter of time before Shopify does fall, because also Flat is looking at them too.
Look at Falcons. Look at their position right now. They are farming 7 total KP in this second game alone as Waltzy. It's a strike to find Koi for a little bit of revenge, while Flat do pepper in some damage onto them, but this entire north side of zone has been clear for Falcons.
2 members of Shopify Rebellion were able to stave off that push, right? You can see Zainu still on the ground. Zap is going to work towards that pickup. They're out of sight from Flat. They're out of sight from Falcons. And GAMINGLADIATORS, who have roamed in from the southeastern side, have maybe gone under the radar the entire map, but they still have 4 kills. They have a power position, and so long as Team Falcons is preoccupied with Flat and the remnants of Shopify, Gaming can take a smart fight.
Walk up, tiptoeing a little bit to see if they can try to harass Flat. While they lose out on Qzer now, just trying to see if they can get the res. They put down the TP. Falcons now, they fully send it onto Shopify, who are still clinging on for dear life. They TP outside of this situation. The exhibit for exhibit, though, giving everybody the info, while Gild is farming. Shopify get cleaned up at the hands of Gild with some help from Zane. Some extra KP for GAMINGLADIATORS, and now we have our last 3 spots for game number 2.
Flat starting in Viaduct here towards the end. GAMINGLADIATORS, who decided, hey, we're going from uptown, we're making our way in, and Falcons, who have had one heck of a game 2. The trades going back and forth. 12 kills for Falcons, and down into the final 2. It is only GAMINGLADIATORS standing in their way for a map 1. Gild reeling back, setting up some of their own fences as Zane looks to make a play, but Gild reads it. Hal answers back. The trades come through, and Gild and Hal stand firm. They swing around Blast, and a 1v1, and they take it. Team Falcons are your winners.
opening the door real quick and waiting to put down the exhibit. They go hard and they go home with the amount of KP that they were able to take for game number 2.
What a match for the Falcons, who, despite having a strong start in map number 1, walk away with a 13th place and 4 kills, but then say, you know what, we've got this. We were your Scrim Reapers as we set practice coming into this LAN. We've hoisted trophies. We know how to do it. We just have to lock it in. And to drop 15 kills, a 3,200 damage differential on this lobby just goes to show you that it didn't matter where they started. They traversed the entirety of the south side of E District and took the craziest rotation in from the west.
I'm like information with the TP there while for the altar too, but for dropping down, destroying these Watson fences, but it's about showing face because in the next 15 seconds, the zone will be closing right behind them.
And I told you, this is one of those squads that had to lock in their ticket to here at EWC because of those regional finals. They won back-to-back maps, locked their ticket in, and things are getting crazy. They're not afraid to fight, and For Fun is on the opposing end of that. Synetic has to stand tall, the last altar alive for the team. Unlimit falls off screen. Flat falls off screen. This is where the entire lobby starts to shake up if you can't get into that next circle.
I can't believe he's still alive, by the way. Well, Falcons climbing from the low ground here have set up their TP gen out, getting the passive shield regen 2 before they're looking at AGG on the other side of the ravine. Trinity's still on the outskirts as well, but we were looking, where was Flat gonna go? I mean, absolutely nowhere. They were forced to back away. They get eliminated before that. Trinity now still holding that southern side, while Gaming Gladiators are also taking a look at TIE as well as PXX. But a majority of these teams were banking on playing by the grassy area on top of the stairs. So it's going to be a huge collapse and even more beneficial for the likes of Gen G, who found themselves in that building to the north side.
And it's going. You're just looking for Nox. You're running into the circle. TIE falls. PXX could join them as Virtus Pro is sending out a member of their team to clean it out. For Gaming Gladiators, they're looking at all of this happen, and they want to put pressure onto that. If they step too far out of their coverage, GG is going to eviscerate them. For JD Gaming, look, they're making their approach. It's not going to be pretty. It's up towards the north, and AG Global is on the other side trying to prevent floating, but this is why Wraith is so fun. You go into the void, you find a shred of cover.
Something a little different with AGG holding onto the high ground, though, being another one of those teams rocking that Wraith. Yanya now going to be able to get right back to the safety of his team, playing off the staircase. While they do look at JGG, though, it's going to take a lot of time away, similar to what we've seen with Trinity and Falcons, where they're kind of forced to play off that low ground before this next zone starts moving in the next 30 seconds. Peppering in, though, while Yanya is going to be able to heal up with that syringe, and Zul's going to be able to try to cover him. They're trying to harass this team, which is DCG, from coming into that next zone and get that free KP.
It's true. I mean, look, when you drop your portal already, JD Gaming didn't have a way to go, and they had so many resources on the high ground that allows them to just take these mid-range fights that are smart, and you have resources. Virtus Pro, who was inside that circle, they fall, and you know who took them? It was Gaming Gladiators. Taskmaster, Osis, and Prestis are out of the lobby. Good pickup here to get Zane back into the fight. Reset because we don't get third party, but I'd imagine that someone is going to look to play for this. PXX to the north is a solo. Deep Cross Gaming is too busy looking at AG Global. So will someone from the south side try to chow for that, or no? Do we see a top 5 performance out of Gaming Gladiators just by being in the better position?
I mean, if they're going to be able to get some KP this time around and they've found themselves consistently in that top 5, absolutely don't change things up here. But it depends on how this fight over from Team Falcons goes, because it's the control for the north. As Falcons are looking at DCG taking a book, or rather a page out of the AGG book, and looking to see if they can try to harass DCG, because they got to start moving. They have a very wide angle to play off of over by the grassy side, while Dory are holding onto the fence line for dear life. Well, the collapse of 4 teams are still there.
So much
damage now moves up, are harassing AGG. No knockdown to hide from, but was it worth it? Well, they get pinged from afar. I hear 30-30s ringing in their ears, and it is Dory getting a little bit of revenge.
I love the way they threw that down. Deep Cross Gaming go for the reset after taking down the Falcons, but it's still Gen G. The match 3 comeback on the southern side. Sure, you've got Dory. Sure, you've got Trinity and ZI Esports, but we have coverage here. We can choose where we want to play from, and you look around. We are one of the only teams locking into the Axle right now. You've got an ult unavailable for the end game, and ZI clears out Trinity. So to the south, we still have 3 teams, 2 in the north.
And with 5 squads left right now, it's Gaming Gladiators that really have to worry about how they're going to get onto the high ground, right? Considering the fact that they have the altar to come out in clutch, but it's DCG who are waiting for them. Dory looking at DCG, which could work as a double-edged sword depending on how long this Gen G versus Zedeye esports fight does play off. But Gen G waking up a little bit now, and this is what you like to see from a team who just flew in today.
You really do. The fences coming down. Roy is going to actually start opening that engagement onto Gen G. Zedeye getting into the mix as well. Dory on the other angle. Gen G does fall, and into the final 4 squads we go. Dupe does need to get rezzed, but we cannot let Dory stabilize on the other end behind the Newcastle wall. Katsu King hits the med kit, and we are stabilizing, but it's not pretty.
I mean, with the final ring closing behind their backs, look at the plethora of nades and some helping backup from DCG. Clear out Dory. Zedeye esports get to see another day as they move up. They capitalize with Gaming Gladiators now also trying to find their place, yeeting the nades up into the air. Thanks to the gens, though. They get deleted unless you're Rory, who is left one shot from one of the nades himself, hugging the gen for dear life.
But when does Gaming Gladiators make their appearance? They'll have to evac over and onto the high ground, but the timing has to be perfect. For Jelly, the fences, this is one of the most interesting fights. Like, we take an inch, you give a mile, another to meet you there. The Mad Maggie ball in the back pocket from Dupe. And we are just swinging around, hanging the gen. Dupe falls. Jelly trying to stabilize, can't do it. Deed with a wingman in hand, fencing with the other. And it's Deep Cross Gaming who's able to take out Zedeye. And here come Gaming Gladiators to clean it up and take match number 3. The timing of that final play for them was impeccable.
Big difference in having the altar get up to the high ground, get a little cheeky kidnap as the crowd goes wild.
So much, Vic. You know, GG is appropriate, however, not for Gaming Gladiators, for the team that won against Gaming Gladiators in a 3v3 in Game 2. That's Falcons. What's up, Mr. Gildersons? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
You seem like you're in a good mood. Tell me why.
I mean, the boys are playing well. We just had 2 really hard games that we made a lot of points out of, so we're pretty happy right now.
43, 46, something like that after 3 games. I mean, this is kind of what you guys felt like you needed to do coming into this, right? Start strong and keep that momentum up.
Yeah, I mean, the boys are playing the way that we need to be playing. I mean, we're making everything that we can out of these games, so, I mean, we're just doing good.
Listen, there's early lobbies. We're figuring out maps. We're figuring out circles. We're figuring out legend bands. But most importantly, I want to talk about you because you're a guy who's been here through so many different orgs, from the NRGs to the Moist to the Liquids. Now you're here with Falcons. You're one of those players that just is perennial. You've been around. You keep doing what you've done. What's your journey coming here, and what do you feel is at stake for you, for Gildersons at this EWC?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I got like a really good second chance in a way, because I mean, I went 2 out of 3 lands in a row without making finals and then joined Falcons, and it's just been nice to prove that this is where I belong.
Does that proving sometimes come with the disappointment that happened after those lands, the hard looks that you said, you know I can be better? How does the proof actually show up for you? Would it be winning, or is it just giving a performance that hey, I showed out?
I mean, it's less about winning and just playing to like my full potential as a player, and just making sure that I'm always showing up regardless of how everyone else is doing.
I asked how you were enjoying Paris. You got some, maybe not family coming, your girlfriend's coming to visit you?
Yeah. My girlfriend's coming.
Support in the stands, it means a lot. How does it feel just being live, the comparison of being in a city like this versus playing online?
It's amazing. I mean, it's nice because everybody else plays super scared, so that's pretty nice. But
yeah, you guys have been here, that's for sure. You have the maturity buff. Well, Gildersons, we're going to let you go get ready. 3 more games to go. You guys are in a great position. Good luck, and hopefully you finish it out.
Thank you.
All right, Gildersons from Falcons. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more action from the studio, and of course, games 4 through 6 here at EWC.
Momentum here down. They are picking up team wipe after team wipe down on this northern side, and now they've got to continue to do so as they have a long way to go towards this zone.
I do wonder, with a team like AG, who historically sometimes have that, last-minute ditch effort to get into finals lobbies. And I tell you what, you got to make sure that Yanya gets back up on his feet so you don't feel those uncomfortable moments.
Yeah, that Kraber hurts. Yanya's going to tell him that. And now we're seeing the zip line come out from Neazul. They do get the reset by the looks of things. and they should be able to take that zip line and reset here as Jaguares will be last man to arrive, having had to pop that battery. Defensive bombardment goes down, but now the zone is going to be at their back. And the health is going to be chipped away. Relove DCG, they will be down next. 14 squads remain as AG might be next to fall.
AG will go down. Such a good fighting team, but on rotation, sadly, too many eyes on them. That's what happens down in the south here at Dev Coast. Now you can see another team full as well. Suddenly, the kill feed lighting up. As we move further into the southeast, Gaming Gladiators have been able to find a fantastic spot on the southern side.
PXX, next team out. 12 squads now remain at Shopify Rebellion. Are trying to pressure Dory inside of this building. You can see how far they have to go. They've got around a minute or so until that zone forces them to move. But before they do so, they want to try and move. In the kill feed, by the way, No Name with that Kraber has picked up another scalp. It's going to be Yuka who's going to be going down.
A lot of engagements being forced here, and actually there's third parties that are going to be happening. Now Gen G will start to move in, but they're approaching 4 different teams. You can't just force this engagement. You've got to be aware of all the other squads, and Gen G do slightly back off here.
Yeah, VP are just trying to hold. They're the team that are kind of gatekeeping everything on this eastern side. There's VP, Zeddy, Gen G all sharing these buildings, and you can see on the map overhead here. But it's Gen G who are going to have to force their way in. They've already lost one, and it's not looking good for Gen G here. They're trying to stick the res, but there's a mother load. And Dexter and Asia, they might not be long for this lobby.
They're starting to smell blood though now. And you start to see those knocks in the kill feed, you know it's now or never, and you're not in zone at the moment. VP's building is the only one that actually will be even slightly, even remotely in that zone. So they have the slight advantage here. They can play a little bit slower and force Gen G and Zeddy to do something.
Ooh, Jelly with that infinite ammo. Kraber needs to hit some big shots here to clear a path towards this end game for the rest of his team. Asia back on his feet. Somehow they've got back to a full 3 here. Nitro pack goes down, which allows Asia to just about pop that battery, but I stand corrected as he will be taken down as VP continue to hold.
Those are the frustrating ones when you are so close to getting the battery. 20 seconds, by the way, till that zone does fully close in. And all these teams now are starting to be forced left, right, and center. Ammo is not looking great for a lot of these teams as Wolves Esports do get eliminated.
Yeah, no more Kraber shots coming in for Wolves. No Name will be ruining the fact that he couldn't pull the trigger a few more times. But look at Gen G, by the way. Survivability. The cockroaches in the lobby, they will not go down here. They hit the Nitro gate. Dory out next. As 10 squads now remain, half the lobby's gone.
So many teams still alive in such a short amount of time as well. There's going to be left before this next zone goes in. 55 seconds. GG do get removed from the south. Huge fight just won by JDG.
Another top 10 for GG, though. It's going to be more points for them as finally Gen G Esports up on that high ground will be taken down. Too many teams surrounding them with lines of sight onto them on that rock. Just weren't able to reset one more time. VP, you mentioned this building was going to be the safest for the longest. Well, they're using it to their advantage here as Taskmaster with this 30-30 is doing damage to Shopify Rebellion, who are being peppered, who are being burnt, and might about to be sent on as Falcons will be out the lobby. Shopify do go down as well.
Didn't even have to send it in the end. VP were able to use utility so effectively there. Now they begin to move. The team closest to them is going to be TIE as For Fun starts getting involved in this engagement.
This is one of the quickest movements from Pylon towards where this zone was going to be headed. Zenetic wants to finish this one off. He's blasting behind the knockdown shields, but not contacting Ritsuki the way that he wants to. Finally, Say Individual will be down as we're into our top 5, and For Fun, from the high ground, continue to control the space in this endgame.
That is a better performance by Zeta Division, though, showing that they are far more comfortable here on Storm Point. As now zone begins to close. TIE, arguably in one of the best spots alongside Virtus Pro. On the west, though, Zeddy versus For Fun. That's going to change a lot of it because For Fun have the high ground. In theory, they can wait.
Back on a Jelly cam. Let's see if the cam matches the name and he's shaky, or if he's still when it comes to hitting these big shots. Elsewhere, JDG, they've just been nuked out of the lobby. VP take care of them. TIE, they're going to sweep in behind as FChan takes down one as Zeddy now make their move up to the heights.
That's such a good position from Zeddy as well. They'll take the position off of For Fun. They get 2, should get a 3rd as well. But all the meanwhile, TIE versus VP, and it's going to be a 3v3. TIE, Zeddy, final circle.
Jelly got an armor swap at just the right time here. Pinator is down. So it's a 3v2, the bubble goes down, and it's time for Zeddy to try and send it to call themselves the champion by taking down the final players. One has fallen, that's going to be Jelly, dragged back to his feet by the Newcastle as Dupe swoops in, and Zeddy will win your game 4.
They call it the Dupe swoop. But Zeddy, they deserved that one because there was aggressive position they took away from 4Fun. And they just timed it perfectly. They were able to read the lobby, see the kill feed going on. They knew they had the advantage going into that final engagement.
Really impressive stuff from them, and it was a combination of 4Fun and Zeddy who are playing kind of... Ilari Man's back to his feet, by the way. Peace hasn't been finished either. Oh. And with the Nitro going down, he slides his way over towards his teammate. Unlimit might get a reset here. Shopify have got to be careful. They might think about finishing this one off quickly. Koiful will go down, though, and the knockdown is a problem.
This is very frustrating for Shopify Rebellion, and now suddenly PXX, they get involved. They say, we'll have a piece of this cake.
Well, Zap is holding the line with this Mastiff in his hands. He had to hit the big shots there to force that team away. PXX wanted to move in, capitalize on the damage, and now all that's really happened is everybody has reset. JD Gaming, they are eliminated. They cannot make that southern rotation work. But Unlimit, through all of that fighting that was going on around that Pixel building, have managed to get a full reset. Dory, the next team to be eliminated in the lobby.
This engagement is still happening, by the way, between Shopify, Unlimit, PXX, all of them fighting tooth and nail at the moment. Unlimit down to just Peace as Falcons get eliminated from the lobby in 14th. By the way, Peace, kill leader right now in the lobby, but will be wiped eventually. A valiant effort as now All Gamers Global say will get involved.
Yeah, they've moved from the building that's safest in this zone, using the Pathfinder zipline to do so. So they were just trying to clear this side of zone. Shopify Rebellion down to 2 for now. AG decide the building is more important, and you can see why from the top left-hand side of your screen. It is safe. It is one of the only places that will be, as PXX now moving to try and finish off Shopify, but finishing off Shopify seems like an impossible task for everyone. Finally they go down, but PXX, it will cost them their lives as well, as DCG will move in to be the final team to survive on this eastern side.
Shopify just went through the gauntlet, and how they survived that long. A lot of kills just went their way. Relove in the end. DCG will be the final team that arrives and actually picks up all of those pieces. And I love what AG Global were doing. They were bullying these teams on the east. They were making sure they had the most dominant position on the map, and now they own the entire north.
But fun take to the skies. Flat, by the way, who were down to 1 and seemed like in an impossible situation a little bit earlier. They're safe inside of zone behind a Newcastle wall. Zanetti with some great shots with that alternator. Are going to catch a couple of players up guard up on that high ground. TIE we out next as the lobby, over half have now fallen. 9 squads remain.
It was AG Global taking out TIE, by the way. Again, another team that started to approach their general vicinity, and they removed them so quickly. And we might see it again as DCG are starting to approach them. But actually, you've got to be careful because GG are in the horizon here. They are having a look towards this one.
The Fuso again! From Yanya and AG, Fuse has been a difference maker in some of these competitions so far, but Jaguares now has to duck behind the bubble and back into the cover as GG are overextending, looking to finish off some of these KPs. Relove DCG will be eliminated next in the lobby.
Gaming Gladiators third place, 46 points. Remember, Falcons got eliminated earlier, so a fantastic chance to catch them up here in this lobby. But can you survive AG in the moment? Because they have just been dominating anyone who pushes their area.
People say, always tell your mother that you love them. None of it's coming from Fuse, though. It's AG Global who keep using this motherload to cause all sorts of problems to the lobby. GG, goodbye. 7 squads now remain.
Suddenly, that passes the advantage to Zeddy now, by the way. Zeddy in second place, 2 points behind Falcons here in match 5. They could be the lobby leaders going into the final match of this series.
So a moment of calm here, 24 seconds until the zone starts to close. 4th place overall at the moment with 37 points, Wolves. But how do they get out of this building with so many teams above them, below them, surrounding them?
Well,
good luck, No Name. You're going to find a portal here somehow.
If you want an actual answer, it is through Wraith, but there's going to be other teams doing the same thing. We are going to see everyone now who has Wraith still alive portaling in. And actually, it's only 2 teams left with Wraith. There is an altar that's going to be available as well, as Wolves trying to portal to the north side. But who's there? AG Global. You've got to be careful. And instead, Fun, they're now going to use the zip line to go north.
No Name did find a portal. Crazy Con comes through that portal, tries to stick the res here on Newcastle, but the pressure is coming in from a combination of AG and the rest of the lobby. Wolves have to retreat here, but the zone is going to be at their back.
This is brilliant from 4Fun though, because they are only a duo, but they've been able to lock down the most north position, avoid initially AG Global, but finally AG Global will spot them.
Gatex up on this high ground now on the middle layer of the building. They're going to be down to just one as well. They'll be the next out of the lobby. Kurasame have fallen. 6 squads remaining. And while all of this is happening, the main building, the God building, has belonged to AG as the God shots start to come in as well from Yanya. This boy's got a Kraber.
Kadinga, Kablam, Kabloozy as now AG are going to be on 37 points and building. It's just one remaining player, by the way, on the north as Flat get eliminated. Cinetic will be sent on. Should be eliminated from the game and will be. Down to 4 squads. Surely this is AG's game.
Boys and Gymnasts almost managed to get out of there. Wolves now go down to the low ground. They have found a way to reset. They have found a way to get into this zone. As Zeddy will be out of the lobby. Top 3 is where we find ourselves. You have Zeta, you have AG Global, and you have Wolves down on this low ground.
The Gibbies are huge, though. They're massive. The protection is huge, but Wolves, they've got the portal to back off.
The pylon is eating all of the ultimates coming from the skies here for Zeddy, and that means that AG, the Gibraltar, not as useful. Zeta now up on the high ground. The nades are raining down as Wolves will fall and Zeta move in to claim the game.
Our best performing APAC North team, the #1 seed coming into these groups. They were Storm Point warriors throughout Pro League, and again, they put big points on the board to keep themselves in that conversation. And most importantly, Mark,
16 squads now remain. It might be going down pretty quickly, though, because Flat are down to 1 as well.
yeah, Zeddy taking some damage, but it looks like Zeddy have been able to win out that engagement, or at least get on top of Flat, and there we go. Wolves Esports get eliminated. That's another top 5 team going down, and actually a lot of our big teams are on this western side. Zone is shifted east, as now the Deathbox recovery is going to be attempted, but there's damage coming from elsewhere.
Yeah, it's going to be AG Global is firing in. Those knuckle clusters trying to force them off of that box. Deeds will be able to get back. There's a rogue Nitro gate down for him from another team that helps him get back into that body. Duplex, if I know this man, it's a no man left behind kind of character. He gets Jelly back into the game and should be able to pull him back into that Void Nexus. However, there's now a team approaching, and that's going to be PXX who smell the blood in the water.
Yeah, PXX are on the hunt at the moment as well. Zeddy having to retreat and back themselves into a corner, but there's still a job to be done here, and Dupe can definitely output damage.
Dupe's a one-man army at the moment. Jen's going to go down, and finally with Dupe going down, it's looking like this could be the end of the game here for Zeddy. Deeds left on his own. He's going to get swung behind these knockdowns. That's another big team in the leaderboards, falling early here. Zeddy Esports are gone and PXX are alive.
Zeddy were in first position, remember, on 55 points, so that's going to be the number to hunt now for all these teams who are chasing. Think of AG, who are on 46. If they can rotate a little bit further east, survive, win this game, perhaps they could be the ones to take the most points from this lobby. GG, remember, still alive in 47 points in the moment as Shopify Rebellion starting to get kills in the kill feed. Koifel's back up on his feet, so there are 2.
Koifel lives. Team Heretics just about doing so themselves, but they're going to have to send it on to Dory here. They can't win that fight. It's a combination of Dory and Unlimited who take down some players from Team Heretics. They will fall next in the lobby. 12 squads remain, 8 have gone as Dory continue to survive and thrive behind this Newcastle wall. Trinity, they will be out next as well.
Virtus Pro taking a lot of damage, but looks like they are surviving as now Zeta Division have found prime position in zone. And remember, they won the previous, and they said if they could go back-to-back, maybe an outside chance of also taking first place here, but they need KP alongside him.
Shopify also fell while all of that carnage happened. Everybody, by the way, from Wall, who has to move towards this zone, has to leave the buildings. VP will be next. Zeta and AG Global, the only 2 teams in zone right now.
And AG Global just positioning themselves so successfully now to try and catch up those lobby leaders as PXX taken out of their lobby after being able to delete the dupe swoop a little bit earlier. As Gaming Gladiators, consistent entirely throughout the day. 51 points. They are only 4 behind Zeddy, who are in first place. As look at this rat spot right now.
I'm just a mere wraith. Let me live my life. And that's exactly what DCG do. It looks like there's a line in the sand. They agree that you look too vulnerable to be taken advantage of, as GG now will fire on the cross to everybody who's trying to move from the south to the north. TIE will be eliminated. 7 squads now find themselves in the lobby of our last game of the series.
GG up into second place. Fun fact, by the way, Zayn is currently at 499 deaths throughout his ALGS history. If he goes down once more, he'll be at 500. But maybe he doesn't do it this game.
Well, Zeta have all of the high ground here. They have got spot. And having won the previous game, there is a real opportunity to go back-to-back for them. Relove DCG will be out of the lobby next, as Yolari Man and the rest of Unlimit try to survive down on this southern side, but with the zone closing, and Stuvie just being brought back to his feet, the health is a problem. They cannot get chipped away by this zone. Yolari Man's going to have to pop the med kit, but has he timed it well enough?
So initially it's going to be the rotation of GG. How important that is. Where do they end up with this zone? But it's Zeta Division and the AG we have eyes on as well, as they hold prime positions at the moment. And GG are doing very well to eliminate that one remaining rat. They are going to take the western side here, and they are going to try and use whatever they can to create cover. And thankfully they do have a rampart.
They're not going to be safe inside the zone though, so they're going to have to keep moving forward. Maybe they're looking at Hermit Crab on damage as Lufka will slam forward. AG still controlling some of this height as well. Dory will be out of the lobby as we're down to 4. GG, AG, Unlimited and Zeta are final 14.
Look at this rotation from Zayn though, trying to get up north, trying to get ahead of them on the Wraith as well. So you can get above everyone at the moment.
Well, the Newcastle has gone down though. That's the problem here for GG, and instead he's decided, I'm just going to pepper away at AG Global. Zayn will fall. That is his 500 death, as GG will be out next, as Zeta now come under fire from Unlimited.
Can Zeta go back-to-back, or will it be AG trying to take this lobby at the moment? They're on 55 points. They've just got 2 points behind GG. They're getting AG go down.
They're getting pinched.
It will be huge for GG.
They're getting pinched. Yanya left on his own. It's Yolari Man, the bogeyman of the lobby, who's coming through and doing the damage here to AG. Satuki up on this high ground there with a car in his hand, just laying down the fire. The bullets are hitting nothing but flesh as AG are down, and Zeta now moving on a limit.
A chance for the back-to-back from Zeta. We knew they were going to be good on Storm Point, but we didn't know they were going to be this good.
Here's the swing. Don't want to be the team to make a mistake. Zuvi will make that mistake. Zeta get the first knock. Yolari Man, 1 HP. He's going to go down as well. Last man alive is Peace. It's a 1v3 to stop Zeta from winning this, but it's not looking likely. Back-to-back goes Zeta Division as they close out Game 6 with the win.
It may not be a series victory for Zeta Division, but boy, is it a statement. They put themselves back on the map, and that map is Storm Point.